All right. Starting out rough already. I hit the fucking wrong intro to begin, but here we go. We're here anyway.
Yeah, at
It,
least we're on time this time. So we're on time. That's
right.
good.
That is a
Yeah.
good sign. Correct.
It's all about progress. We're becoming less rusty going into week 2 now. That's how I like to see it.
Yeah, you can never tell anything from week one. That's what we always say when it comes to football, right? So,
Well, yeah. You can tell a few things from week 1. I'm sure we'll chat about him as we go through the show.
oh, something's going on with our Rumble fucking.
Yeah, Rumble's not letting us stream.
Well, I'll upload that after the show then, guys, and you'll be able to watch it. Yeah, we'll upload it though. Um, so how's everything going with you this week, Maddie?
Yeah, I mean, I'm feeling pretty great this week. I got a fantasy win
Everything going with you this week, Maddie?
and my Cowboys won, most importantly. And the reason I got a fantasy win is because my Cowboys team shut out the New York Giants and scored 35 points on fantasy, tearing it up. They
So
looked amazing.
anybody who sees me roll my eyes, it's because Maddie's been overly gushing. A 40-point win by maybe the worst team in the NFL is what we saw. They literally, okay, two things, and this one stat proves both things. One, the Giants are fucking completely awful, and spoiler alert, Arizona's going to beat them this week. Two, um, Cowboys fans are delusional because they are excited about this win. And great win. You won by 40. And the Giants lost by 40. And Dak Prescott went 13 of 24 for 143 fucking yards. Like, he was bad. He was
He didn't
bad.
need to do anything. He didn't need to do anything. We
Yeah,
won the game.
like throw a completion.
But we won the game. It doesn't matter.
It shows how bad he still is.
No,
Against that team. Against that team, he went 13 to 24. Fuck the yardage. He went 13 of 24 against that team.
yeah, that is the one pressure point where I was like, yeah, Dak, you probably could have done a bit better there. Because obviously I look like such a Dallas homer when it comes to my fantasy team. They're a decent fantasy squad to have. I just also have Dak and Tony Pollard. And I remember when I saw the score, because I fell asleep and then watched it on the highlights because it's 3 a.m. for me in Riga.
Yeah,
But
how many
I
points did Dak get you?
6. Yeah, so I woke up in the morning and was like, "Holy shit, it's 40 to," because I thought I was losing fantasy this week. Mark Andrews was out injured and I didn't get time to change it, so I thought I was losing. And then I saw it was 40-0, and was like, "Holy shit, holy shit, holy shit! I might have won it. I might have won it." Checked the scores, was like, "Oh my god, I've killed it." Dak must have got loads of points. Dak got 6. Dak got
So
6 fantasy points this week.
Dak is now the San Francisco 49ers Jimmy Garoppolo.
Well, got to a
Don't
Super
fuck
Bowl.
it up and you'll win, but you're not going to win a Super Bowl.
But it got to the Super Bowl. I'll take. Oh God.
Well, you're
Was within one throw of winning the Super Bowl. Let's remember that as well. So
yeah,
things
but he
can go
doesn't throw. He's
differently.
not an interception machine like Dak.
Dak isn't an interception machine. He had
He
one
led the
season
league
where he
while
was an
missing
interception machine. 1
5 or 6
season.
games last year.
Yeah, he's also got the record for most passes as a rookie without an interception.
You are what you put on film last. Just remember that.
Right. You can't look at that defensive performance because, like, yes, the Giants aren't. Just a reminder, Jay picked the Giants to win that game, so can't afford the Giants were that bad until very recently. But you look at that performance, that was a dominant performance of a team that is way better, just getting the job done. And we had the second string in deep, like early in the fourth quarter.
Do you think the Giants take Caleb Williams with that first overall pick?
I think Arizona take Caleb Williams with the first overall pick. I still think the Giants are better than Arizona.
Arizona's 2-0 come after this Sunday.
All right. I just, the Giants' offensive line did look terrible, but the Dallas defensive line is also pretty incredible. And Daniel Jones is exactly who I said he was. By the way, not
real.
worth his $40 million contract.
Did Saquon Barkley look like he didn't want to be there?
I wouldn't want to be there if I was playing
those facial expressions every time they put the camera on him was like, I don't fucking want to be here.
Yeah, and I think, the Giants are bad. Let's not get that twisted. Last season, the Giants overachieved, definitely, but that performance was dominant. Like that wasn't just a good performance where you come in, you get the job done. That was dominant. And yes, would it have been good to have seen Dak throw for 300 yards and all of this? Yes, it would, 100%. Let's hope going into the next week he can get it done. Well, but if he's, as long as he's not fucking turning the ball over at the moment, then I don't mind.
With the Giants, that's kind of my point. And I think I accidentally said the Cardinals will be 2-0. I meant to say the Giants will be 0-2, but whatever. That's actually my point. How bad are the fucking Giants if they lose and the quarterback they're playing goes 13 for 24?
Yes. You can also look at this from another perspective. The two,
if a bad quarterback, an average quarterback goes 13 to 24, what does a good quarterback do to them? Or an above average quarterback do to them?
There's also the point of Daniel Jones. How much did Dak actually have to do, and how much opportunity did Dak have to do things when he scored?
What he did have is 24 passes, and he only completed 13 of them.
Yeah, 100%. And we can talk about yes, that's a poor completion percentage in this win, but also Dallas get a touchdown on special teams after blocking a field goal. They get a touchdown in an interception return.
Which proves my point about the Giants.
A running touchdown, and then a 7-yard run on a touchdown as well. So how much opportunity did Dak get? Don't get me wrong. The Giants
24 passes. That's the opportunity he had.
Yes, the Giants were bad. The Giants were bad, but the Cowboys were brilliant. Micah Parsons lived in the backfield. Micah Parsons looked like he's going to be the defensive player of the year. He looked amazing.
But nobody ever argues that Micah Parsons is amazing. What the question is how can you be so excited about beating such a trash team when your quarterback played so badly? That was the whole point of my questioning.
You're not raining on my parade with this one. I'll take a 40-0 win with my
quarterback throwing under 200 yards. I'm saying, how are you guys so excited?
Maybe I'm becoming a quarterback's win. I might become a quarterback's win excited,
but you're not. You're up here.
Am I a quarterback's win guy? Is that what I'm becoming? That doesn't feel like who I am.
No, what I'm saying is, I said normal win. You're a normal. Yeah. If you were a normal win excited, I get it. You and every other Cowboy fan on the fucking internet is so hyped, and I'm like, look, you won. That's amazing. A win is great. They're hard to come to in the NFL. But my argument is, how are you all so excited about a 40-point win that was like you said, the Giants are so bad you scored on pretty much every fucking phase of football.
I just think be excited when you beat a division rival 40-0. I think that's okay to be overly excited.
You guys are Super Bowl excited.
I'm not Super Bowl excited. I never get Super Bowl excited. I just said to you that you picked the Cowboys to lose the game. I said that was crazy. And we won, and we blew them out. It wasn't close.
If you followed me last week on picks, you're up like $500 if you bet 100 a game. So if you followed me and bet 100 or even 10 a game, you're up $50. Think about that. If you followed me last week by the point, Fred.
just not on his Dallas pick. That's the
No,
one.
bomb that motherfucker. But hey, it's like racing. It don't matter if you lose by an inch or a mile. A loss is a loss, right? Like it don't matter if you win by an inch or a mile. A win is a win.
I don't know. Week 1 winning by that margin is. I'm not saying Super Bowl.
I'd be
I'm not
more
saying Super
impressed
Bowl.
if you won in week 8
I think,
by that margin.
I think what's happened here is I've been shitting myself all preseason, thinking that we've been getting worse.
I know
and
people
we look better.
This is me shitting on the Cowboys win too, and it's not. It's me shitting on the Cowboys fans for being so excited over a 40-point win week 1 against what I arguably think is the team now that's going to have the first pick in the draft.
If you beat the Bears by 40 points at the start of the season, you would be this excited just because you put it on your division rival as well. It's a division rivalry thing also.
Okay, maybe most Vikings fans, but I live by the notion if you get too excited, it bites you in the ass. Karma likes to bring you back down. So if you haven't noticed, I am usually pretty measured in my Vikings hate or love, pretty measured.
Yeah. Hey, I'm normally measured about the Cowboys, but when you wake up at 6 a.m. and see that they're drubbing them, your division rivals, 40 points to 0, I was hyped. I was super, super hyped.
Well, since we're doing some like recaps of last week, I do have a question for you.
Hit me.
What did you think about that Bears-Packer game?
Yeah, it wasn't great on helping me out with Justin. You can't use that graphic, right? Like, get the new graphic.
He's still one of the worst in the league. I figure it's fitting.
No. Get the new graphic. You just have to put up the fact that he only.
By Sunday I'll have it. Don't worry.
Yeah, he only passed for 216 yards, went 24 for 37, 1 touchdown and 1 interception. I mean, 9 carries for 59 yards. Like he looks bad.
Yeah,
It wasn't just a fact of like because those numbers, like 216 yards, not great. Like 1 touchdown, 1 interception, not great. So the numbers are not great, but he managed to look worse than those numbers.
Oh yeah, and dude, his receivers had to like make some catches for some of them balls too.
Yeah, and there was like last season, I felt like his receivers were maybe playing down a level, but on Sunday they were playing up a level, and he just wasn't meeting it at all. And I also think we were missing a bit of his explosive carry potential, like the thing that sets him aside. 9 carries for 60 yards, around what's that like? It's around 6 yards a carry, like somewhere near to that.
6.5.
But that's not Justin Fields. That's not what you want from Justin Fields. You really don't want him to turn into like a bell cow quarterback. Like that's not what you want, because then he really is just a running back. So he missed that explosive potential and he didn't throw the ball well. Now, if he gets that explosive running potential and throws the ball like he did on Sunday, you can kind of go like, okay, there's a game plan there. We can work with that. But the fact he was also missing the running potential, not great. However, the Packers defense looked good. So that's good for the Packers.
Bro, they just fucking manned up everybody and said Justin Fields can't throw. We're not going to let him run.
Yeah,
I wrote they did the whole game.
Yeah.
I don't know what to think of the Packers offense either, because they looked all right to me. I wasn't disappointed with them. If you really think about it, it's like, Jordan Love's first time coming in with it being his team, that kind of thing. But I'm not sold on that Bears defense either. I think they did the dumbest thing in the world, and they tried to build from the middle.
Yeah. Yes. I remember when we were doing our podcast towards the end of the year, when the Bears were just spending their free agency money, just like, right, we've got all of this free agency money. Now we need to spend it. And it felt like they were spending it in every single wrong position.
Let's just get linebackers.
Don't need. Yeah, it's just like, we're the 85 Bears. We're the 85 Bears. Linebackers.
Yeah, but they forget they had McMichael and all those guys in front of the linebackers on the 85. But you know what I mean? Like, they had monsters. Even the Lance Briggs and fucking Urlacher Bears had monster lines in front of them.
Yeah, and they just to be honest though, if you just look at it purely on numbers, that's not how football really works. But if you just look at it purely on numbers, the Bears are quite comparative in yardage, total yardage, 311 for the Bears, 329 for the Packers. Passing yards, the Bears got 189 passing yards to 237, and then 122 rushing yards to 92
Also,
rushing yards.
Before I forget this, I think there was only 3 completions of Justin Fields that were more than 4 yards past the line of scrimmage.
Yeah. There's
so
also
many screens and
Yeah, the stat that really hammers home the point that you were making though is the Packers got 4 sacks and the Bears only got 1. That's where I think the game kind of hinged, because once you back up Justin Fields, once you sack Justin Fields, and Justin Fields is one of the most sacked quarterbacks in the NFL, whether that's because he holds onto the ball too long, whether that's because he tries to make things happen, who knows? It's also because his offensive line ain't great. And the Packers,
all of the above.
Yeah, yes. So they've built this. They've spent their money on linebackers and on a wide receiver. It's nice to see them getting Justin Fields a weapon in DJ Moore. Great. But where they should have been spending it.
Number 1.
Yeah. Also, all those fucking massive offensive linemen that the Broncos were signing, why weren't they Chicago Bears already? Why weren't any of them Chicago Bears already? You could have just made the biggest run blocking offensive line going and just said, right, there you go, Justin. Don't fucking let anybody through here. Don't take a sack ever. Don't get behind the yardage, and then we'll be fine. But
I don't know if you remember, but when the Vikings job was being rumored that it was either Kawasi or Poles, and I told you right on air, I hope it is not Poles. So I'm just saying.
Yeah, I think they took to heart the whole thing of, we need to get Justin Fields weapons. We need to get Justin Fields weapons, and then just forgot that he needs time to throw the ball. But also he doesn't. I feel like it's coming down to him reading the reading the defense and stuff like that. He doesn't get the ball out quickly either. But really, what that game comes down to is the 4 sacks to 1, and that's a defensive stat as well as poor offensive line play. And the Packers look good. The Packers still own the Bears even without Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, and it's just like I don't know. The Bears team just did not look good to me. Like that, when people say, well, I use the eye test. The eye test told me that the Packers are a way better team than the Bears.
Yeah, and I mean, but there's the aspect of playing complementary football as well. Like, didn't seem to be there. And the Bears let up 28 points in the second half. They got outscored, what was it, 28 to 14. 28 to 14 in the second half. So not good game management, not good gameplay. Letting the Packers run on you for 92 yards when you're trying to make Jordan Love throw. Like, yes, the Bears run for 122. That's great for the Bears. We know that they're a running team and that's all that they can do. And I argue Justin Fields is a special quarterback when it comes to using his legs, definitely. So 122 yards, okay. To allow the Packers to run for 92 yards whilst you're trying to work out whether Jordan Love can throw the fucking ball as well is not good, especially when you've spent all that money on linebackers. So they've got no sacks and they let the Packers run. They should be worried about their front 7 on defense, because they can't be going behind in games if they want Justin Fields to be their quarterback.
Yeah, and the only thing I know for sure that Jordan Love proved to me is he's not a bum, but I still don't know if he's an NFL quarterback.
He's a fantastic backup, an excellent backup quarterback.
I don't know yet. You know what I mean? I don't know. He's not a bum, but I don't know if he's a legit top guy yet, because to me, I feel like we got to give him the season, but by week 8, we'll be making crazy rash judgments, even though I say that right now. We got to give him the season. By week 8, we're like, he's a genius or he sucks. Like, so that's just the name of the game.
I don't mind giving him the season. I just think everything about him screams top 3 backup in the NFL, you know? Like just the way he carries himself as well. I mean it as a compliment, is what I'm trying to say. Like the way he carried himself through the whole. Yeah,
that means the Packers will fucking not be very good for the next 8 years. So
you know, you don't know when they're gonna find their QB. They seem to have an eye for the QB.
You mean Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre, which had nothing to do with Gutekunst, who literally had like a gazillion picks in his first couple years and only had like 2 of them left in the league. I think he had 19 picks in 2 years and only 2 of them made it more than 3 years. So
yeah, it kind of looked into Aaron Rodgers as well.
Well, that's a good segue. Like, you're a professional, because Aaron Rodgers' foot almost fell off, but with a Zach Wilson-led team that Zach did not look that great, but they still beat the Bills. Is Stephon Diggs going to want out of there soon?
Yeah, I did we all know that there were going to be injuries in that New York stadium when they play on the turf that they play in? Yes, everybody says it every year. Should they be allowed to play in MetLife Stadium until they change the turf? They should not be allowed to play there. Did we expect it to be Aaron Rodgers? No, we didn't. I saw one person tweeted about 2 months ago that Aaron Rodgers was going to snap his Achilles, like, if he plays 2.5 hours in MetLife Stadium, in a wet MetLife Stadium. And I was like, oh, good. I mean, good karmic energy you've put out into the world there, friend. But yeah, obviously shame for Aaron Rodgers, but the Jets still have plenty to be happy about. They just beat the Bills whilst playing Zach Wilson at quarterback.
You mean the Bills, Josh Allen, who can do no wrong to the media, but yet he cost them that game, but he's going to get a pass. But if that was Dak or Kirk, Kirk's getting hammered for the game that they lost to the Bucks. And yes, Kirk threw an interception that got ripped out of KJ's hands after he caught it. Is that Kirk? Is it not? Argue, whatever. And then the fumbles were because we had a fucking injured center off the bat, right? And then the other fumble, he just got labeled. He just got fucking blown up.
Yeah.
So
and Dak's getting blown up for a 40-point victory. Like,
right, but Josh Allen.
Yeah, exactly. Do you know what? The luckiest man about Aaron Rodgers' injury is Josh Allen, because it's meant the media have had to talk about something else. The media have found something else to talk about Josh Allen. Josh Allen is an average quarterback, above average quarterback, but he's just breaking into the top 10. If you call
talented and does dumb shit, bad decision making at times.
All 3 of those interceptions were horrible. Like, there wasn't one where I could see what he was doing. You know what I mean? And it's poor game management, really fucking bad game management, where your other team is playing the backup quarterback who last season looked like he didn't know if he could play football. And the team that you're playing's got a good defense. Just be conservative for once.
And poor Zach Wilson has to learn a whole new offense this offseason because fucking Aaron Rodgers came in. So it's not even the same offense he had been in prior.
Yeah, just play conservative for once, because the Jets defense is fucking real, by the way. Like,
James
real.
Cook was better in spurts
James Cook
than I thought he did.
Yeah, watching the game. So, fun backstory. Wales played Latvia in football in Latvia. So, like, 3,000 Welsh fans were in
Did you go?
Riga. Yeah. So me and my dad. Yeah. So my dad came over from Wales, and we went and watched the game. So much fun. Like, the Welsh fans took over the stadium. Was a lot of fun, and they took over the city as well. There's stuff coming out in the Latvian media now that in a weekend of the Welsh fans being here, we made the same amount of tourist money as the entirety of August, and the ice hockey world, like, they outsold the ice hockey world championships, which were held in Riga, like, in May.
So that
anyway,
tells me they should figure out how to get this game every year.
Yes. So that was the vibe that I was watching and in the sports bar that we ended up in, that we were in at fucking 3 a.m. in the morning, they were playing the Jets versus the Bills. So I was watching the game in there. So a bit blurred memory of the entire game. But I don't remember James Cook having such a good game, because I put him on the bench in my fantasy team thinking that, all right, okay, Mike Williams might have a bit of a better game. I like to go a few more wide receivers, but he looked great. Like, he looked really good in spurts of that game.
Do you remember what he scored or no?
15 points in fantasy.
See, I didn't even think it'd be that much, but I shit on him so bad because he was on my fantasy team last year and sucked balls so bad that he impressed me. Also, on the other side of the coin, his brother Delvin. Anybody seen how many tackles for losses Delvin took in that game? That is why I love Delvin. Delvin can blow a 60-yard play open in a heartbeat. Like, don't get me wrong, but he was not worth $14 million for all those tackles for losses. And Breece Hall looked pretty fucking good.
Unbelievable. What was it? 10 carries for 127 yards. He looked like Breece Hall from last year. He looked like he was back. I didn't take him in fantasy because I was worried about him looking like who he was going to look like. And I took Tony Pollard and a different wide receiver. Who is it? I took Tony Pollard and Amon-Ra St. Brown. That was my duo, doing very well, fantastic. But what I could have got was CeeDee Lamb and Breece Hall. That was my other one, but I decided to go for Tony Pollard over Breece Hall because I was worried about Breece Hall's knee. But he's what was it? His ankle or something. He looked great.
So you were worried about Breece's knee, but not the fact that Tony Pollard's ankle fell off last year.
Yeah, that didn't cross my mind until I'd done it.
Okay.
And I did it, and then was like, "Oh shit!" Actually, Tony
just
Pollard
made me
was
laugh.
injured at the
I
end
had
of
to
last year. Yeah, because that cost me in the final last year. Tony Pollard's ankle falling off. But yes, I didn't think about that. But Breece Hall looked fantastic, so good, and he burst off that big run. And I think if he had his fitness up a little bit, he would have another touchdown, which he ran for 99 yards. It was crazy that he ran out of gas at like the 40-yard line or something, and the safety caught up to him and took him down. But he should have taken that to the house. Needs to work on his fitness a little bit.
So let me ask you. You're already going to know my answer, but you're impartial to this because I see this, and this is just random bullshit. But big thing on the social media this week after Rodgers goes down is the Jets should trade for Kirk Cousins. If you're the Vikings and you get offered, because the argument is it should be the Sam Bradford trade, a 1 and a 3. If you get offered a 1 and a 3 from the Jets, do you take it for Kirk Cousins this year, throw in the towel, and say that you're going to fucking shit the bed for the rest of the year?
No, because I think your Super Bowl window's still open, and you should go with the Super Bowl. The only way that you do that,
off JJ, who's up for the biggest contract, and you just brought in TJ Hawkinson.
The only way you do it is if you just tank and make sure you end up with Caleb Williams at the end.
And you're still not. I know he looks like it, but we've watched a lot of football in our lives, and there's no guarantee he's going to be great in the NFL. There's not. And
yeah, how did Breece Young look this week? Like, and we were all saying tank for Breece Young at this point last season, but how did he look this week?
CJ Stroud didn't look very good either, but I'm not like too mad at these guys because they're rookies getting thrown into the NFL
first week as well. But just pointing it out, how did Breece Young look? But yeah, I wouldn't do that if I was the Vikings. If I was the Jets, yeah, fuck it, I'd do it.
Everybody makes it sound like you can just get draft picks and you're going to pick the right guy too.
Mm-hmm. My favorite theory comes from the new, is it First Take, where they've got Stephen A. and Shannon Sharp, and they say that Tom Brady is the guy.
Hey, I was going to actually do that to you. I was going to ask that next. So you're reading my mind, Maddie. Would it not be dope as fuck was the question if Tom Brady came in 12 replaces 12. I know it'd be a different number because the season already started, but and Rodgers was 8 anyway with the Jets, but
Yeah, that'd be
12
fine.
replaces 12.
Yeah, I think Aaron would be so pissed. I think he'd be so fucking mad if that happened. Like, oh, this guy, like the one guy in my era that is probably going to take like a lot of my legacy away and all of that kind of stuff is now going to come into the team where I was meant to come win the Super Bowl. I get injured and then he comes in and he wins the
Is
Super Bowl.
Rodgers coming back?
Whatever.
Right.
I don't know. I don't think he will if you draft Tom Brady. I think he'll come back. I think he'll go through the rehab and come back.
He wants to come back, but like you're almost like 40. You just ruptured your Achilles. How bad is it? Like, are you out 18 months? Like, you know what I mean? Are you out to the middle of next season? Are you willing to do that rehab again? Like, I don't know. I'm 45. I'm not nearly a supreme athlete, but that's a rough fucking road, right? Like the healing, just doing shit that I did 10 years ago takes a little longer to heal now than,
Yeah. And
I sprained my ankle in March at the hot box, and that bitch was still hurting me like 3 weeks ago. Off and on. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I mean, he has access to every single day medical care from the sports.
Father Time is undefeated.
I think they'll be fucking replacing the turf in MetLife. I think if he is coming back, he'll pay to have the turf replaced in MetLife Stadium.
I don't know. He gave up $30 million. I don't know if he's got the money.
He just messages them and you just go, you remember that $30 million, you fuckers? If there's not a new field on that fucking stadium with that money, I'll be pissed. Fuck Dalvin Cook. Breece Hall's fine.
Yeah, like
get that money back in the stadium.
That is the worst thing that could have fucking happened to the Jets, though.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. But they still got the win. So just with that, can they win with Zach Wilson? How do you feel about that? With that defense? And Garrett Wilson looked like a fucking monster, by the way.
Okay, so he wants to know for fantasy football. Look, here's the thing, and we'll get to this when we pick our picks for tonight. The Eagles lose by less than 7 or win by fucking 20. So,
the Commanders got.
I don't remember who the Commanders play until we go through that again.
The Broncos.
Oh yeah, and I just picked up the Broncos defense on one of my teams because of that. Now that you said
because
that.
They're playing the Commanders, yeah, I would as well.
Well, I had the Jags last week, which got me 11 points, which was good, but they're not a team I want. You know me in defenses, though. I have a different defense every week.
Yeah, I mean, my defense scored 35 points this week, so I think I might just keep them for a little bit and see what happens.
If Montana, if you're still watching too, if you wouldn't have listened to the fucking Canadian, you might have actually won this week. But playing 2 tight ends is never a good idea in fantasy football.
I didn't have a tight end, Montana, and scored the 3rd highest in the thing. Don't play 2 tight ends.
And I think him and Canadian made a trade, but I haven't been able to check yet. But it looked like it in the comments. And I'll push it through. I haven't seen it yet, but I'm curious to see what that is. Because for some reason, ESPN makes you do it off your laptop. They won't let you do it off your iPhone.
Yeah, let's talk about it in a separate. Let's break down that trade in a separate fantasy football, our league fantasy football breakdown. Only available on Rumble, everybody. So go follow us on Rumble.
Yes, and I'll upload this to Rumble afterwards because something happened with the live stream. But we'll move on to another game we wanted to talk about. And this just in, I'm pretty sure the Rams just scored again against the Seahawks, even though the game's over.
What happened?
Matt Stafford happened.
Is it Matt Stafford, or did we forget that Sean McVay is probably the best coach in the NFL? Like
I watched a 23-minute version of that game, and I'm still not quite sure what happened.
Yeah, I managed to grab the 40-minute highlights of the game, and I just haven't got it. Like, I'm not really sure where it's come from on that at all. Like, I'm baffled by the win, completely blindsided by it. The stat that everybody likes to bring up is Gino's last 8 games in the league, where I should start providing infographics and stuff like that. So is Geno? Have we found out who Geno is? Also,
I said
Aaron
this
Donald
last
looked
year.
like Aaron Donald, so that helps.
I said this last year. I think Geno had a miracle beginning of the season and started to become Geno again.
Yeah, and it wasn't bad. Like going into the end of last year, it wasn't horrendous. It just wasn't who he was at the start. And Aaron Donald, and also it looks like if you can stop the Seahawks running the ball, they can't do much. And Aaron Donald looked unbelievable.
All right, Maddie.
So good.
Pronounce that receiver's name for me that everybody fought for in the.
Yep. I will do my best. Let me just find his name.
Nacua. And I've heard it 12 times this week and still can't remember how you pronounce it.
That's who the trade is for, by the way, for between.
Okay. Well,
just while I'm getting his name up, hang on.
That kid balled the fuck out, bro.
Puka Naku.
Okay. That's as good as it's going to get anyway, if that's not it. We apologize if we butchered your name, but my dude, you balled the fuck out.
It's also not as good as it gets, and this guy isn't getting enough love, but Tutu Atwell went for exactly the same amount of yards, but only on 6 receptions and averaged 19.8.
You're reading my mind today, Maddie. I like it. We're like in mid-season form already.
Here we go. Now we're rolling after last week. We got this, yeah. But
we got the Tutu Atwell and me fucking amazing. Up the intro out of the way, so we're good.
We got it. We've got this. We've got this. But yeah, basically what they've done is they've done. This is something that the Rams didn't get enough credit for when they won the Super Bowl as well. Everybody's like the whole F them picks, fuck them picks. Like, oh yeah, we create this super team doing this, but most of the team was created with excellent coaching from 3rd and 4th rounders. Their now entire receiving core are a load of people that we haven't really heard of.
Do you realize they scored 30 points with 0 passing touchdowns?
Yeah, I looked into Kyron Williams at the end of the draft, who scored something crazy as well. Like
2 touchdowns on 52 yards for 15 carries.
He looks like my Jamal Williams from last year. Just a touchdown guy, you know.
To put it kind of in perspective, Justin Fields ran for 6 yards a carry. Matt Stafford ran for 4.
Yeah, not great. Naku began his college career at Washington, finished at BYU. I've never heard of this guy at all. Got nothing on him at all in the draft. Honestly, the guy absolutely balled out, looked absolutely amazing. Like, good for them. Well done. A worry for the Seahawks though. Like, no offensive movement, no real offensive commitment whatsoever.
Their running game didn't look great. Like, you know, and with Rashad Penny last year, they had a good running game and they didn't keep him either.
Yeah.
I know he got hurt.
Didn't look good. They moved back. They kept Kenneth Walker came back and looked decent, like considering like he looked all right, like 64 yards.
Line was a bright spot last year, and it didn't look like a bright spot, but it's only week 1, but still.
Yeah, but when you have 2 rookies at tackle in their first season and they look great, and then you have and then they look shit like Sunday. I keep saying yesterday.
Oh, look at Montana taking a shot at my Vikings D. I wouldn't take the Vikings D against the Eagles either. Even though, even in a loss, they looked a lot better. And Baker knew what they were calling, and they still look better. So,
yeah, Montana, keep a hold of this, and then we'll tell you why you shouldn't take the Vikings D, but why you also shouldn't take the Eagles D in a bit.
That's a good point too. There's a teaser. That's the business they call it teaser. Yeah, it does. I think to me, what caught me about the Seahawks is that they did not look like a Pete Carroll coach team.
Yeah, they looked off. Like you expect This is why Pete Carroll does so well with young players. Like, he requires total energy, and they just didn't have that. And they also got beat in Seattle. So not having energy, season opener, division rival in Seattle, terrible. Really, really lackluster performance. Really, really not good. I said they'd have a fall off this year and then do really well in the playoffs afterwards. So hopefully that's what we're looking at.
Okay. So are we believers in the Rams, or do we think that was too soon to tell?
Too soon to tell. I'm a believer in Sean McVay. I believe in Sean McVay. I feel like we haven't given him enough credit coming into the season at all for the jobs that he's able to do and what he's able to get out of his teams. So maybe they're not as bad as everybody thought they were going to be. And the fact that Matt Stafford's shoulder works is also a big plus for them. Let's not forget that the most recent they won the Super Bowl before last. So I feel like it's what do you expect from them?
Because I've been saying his arm fell off for like 8 months now. So yeah.
It's interesting to me that his shoulder works. So that makes everything a bit different as well. So let's see on the Rams. I'm not a believer yet, just because I look at that. There's so many wide receivers who kind of come into the league, have one or two unbelievable games, and then we don't really see much from them again. So let's see how that wide receiver core holds up. Ivan Toney is the person coming to mind right now.
Maddie, let's talk about the two teams who are going to play tonight, but we'll talk about their games from last week first. Mm-hmm. And let's go with the Eagles, because I dunked on Dak, so I'm going to be fair. Jalen, who I think is the best quarterback in the NFC, did not play well.
No, he did not.
And he looked bad throwing the ball, which I gave him a ton of credit for last year. And he went 22 of 33 for 170 yards in a close game. So, like, they needed him to do more. Like, your argument, I still will argue against a little, but your argument of Dak didn't need to do as much. Well, Jalen, they needed to do more, and he still didn't give them what they needed. Yeah. So, and Mac Jones, I just had a hella number.
316 yards.
3 touchdowns, and on
3 touchdowns, 1 interception, 35 and 54. The guy, Bill O'Brien asked Mac Jones to throw the ball 54 times.
I was going to say that too, but his completion percentage isn't the greatest. It's not the worst, but it's not the greatest.
Yeah, because he got asked to throw fucking 54 times. My arm would fall off if I had to throw a ball 54 times, no matter if it was in the NFL or not. And I'm not even Matthew Stafford, so my arm is not ready to fall off yet. But I just, unbelievable, unbelievable game to watch.
Super negatively, but out of Hurts, 22 completions for 170, 14 of them for 126 yards. So almost all of them went to 2 guys.
Yeah. I mean, it's not necessarily negative. Wouldn't say that happens with Patrick Mahomes, I guess. Would we? But
Jalen, what made Jalen great last year is he got the ball to everybody.
Yeah. Yeah. It's difficult to put this game into perspective as well. I was watching it and I was thinking, oh shit, the Eagles are going to lose a game here, because it looks like, after watching the Commanders and the Giants, it does look like it's going to be a 2-horse race for the NFC East, and any games that we can pick up from help outside of the division is fantastic. So I was watching it and thinking, oh yeah, they're going to get beat. And then they won by 5 points. So the Patriots fans, I just want to take this angle just for a second, and then we can come back to actually analyzing the Eagles a little bit, because we'll talk about them going into the game tonight as well. Patriots fans, you were saying about Cowboys fans getting too excited for the big win. I've never seen a franchise get so excited about a big loss.
Are they? I
Moral
haven't seen
victories.
it. I don't know many Patriots fans though. They're excited.
What's become of the Patriots where you're excited to only score 20 points in a season opener and lose a game by 5? The moral victory and everything like that. Like, what? Like, what are you talking about? Like, what's going on here? And people are saying like, oh, well, it's like the Cowboys when they went close with against Tom Brady and the Bucks, and it's like, yes, but in that game, Tom Brady, we scored 30 points. Tom Brady beat us on the final drive of the game. Mac Jones threw for 316 yards, and you still lost with Jalen Hurts only throwing for 170. So it's the complete. It's a bit of an opposite end thing there. It's like, how did you not win? It's like what we would have been saying if the Detroit Lions lost against the Chiefs. So what you were very rightly saying in our Sunday preview show last week about the Lions saying, well, yeah, get excited about the win, like everything, but just remember that the Chiefs had everything went wrong for the Chiefs and everything went right for you, and you still only just beat them. Everything went right for the Patriots, and everything went wrong for the Eagles, and the Patriots still lost. Let's not. And Zeke looked bad as well.
Well, yeah, and even talking about the Vikings versus the Buccaneers, it was a weird game too because you take out the turnovers, and I'm not making excuses. It's probably a different game because Cousins goes 33 for 44, 344, 2 tuds and an interception. Baker Mayfield goes 21 to 34 for 173 and 2 tuds. Like Justin Jefferson had 9 receptions for 150 fucking yards. If you would have told me Kirk Cousins threw for 344 and 2 tuds and Justin had 9 for 150, I'd have been like, oh, we won that game.
Yeah, I'm not really sure how you guys lost that game either. I mean, your rushing leader is Alexander Mattison, who had 11 carries for 34 yards. That could be something to do with it, not allowing the game management standpoint.
Well, and it's the 3 turnovers too. That
3 turnovers
killed us.
Yep. 3 turnovers, not gonna be helpful at all.
They can, and I know Viking or Cousins haters are gonna hate it, but KJ Osborne caught the ball and had it ripped out of his fucking hands for that interception. It's still a Cousins interception, but that's a touchdown if he brings that in on the goal line. The fucked up snap is both of their faults. The new center, playing for Bradbury and Cousins, and then you can blame Cousins for his fumble, but he got blown up so fucking hard because nobody decided to block.
Yeah, I mean, that is a very similar problem to not the Vikings last season, but Vikings of a while is poor offensive line play. So,
well, it doesn't help that in the first couple minutes, your starting right tackle and your center go out of the fucking game, but it's still no excuses for having those kind of stats and losing that game.
Are they back this week? How long were those injuries? It's difficult.
Bradbury's still out, but O'Neal's playing at right tackle. Right. But Bradbury's still out at center.
Yeah, it's difficult when you it's like what we say with the 49ers of like, oh, there's like injury problems run within this organization, or when you're talking about the Browns are dysfunctional, they've always been dysfunctional. The Vikings offensive line is sometimes in turmoil a decent amount of the time. 2 injuries that obviously is really difficult. Like that's okay. Always going to fuck a team up. So it's probably not the same Vikings.
I want you to say this for the masses too. Like we find sometimes, and me more than you, find Florio ridiculous. But you ever find him a liar?
Where he just makes shit up.
Right.
Not particularly. I trust him.
Me too.
With what he's saying.
I don't like his opinion, but when he says he heard something, I don't ever find him a liar as much as I shit on him. And all the Vikings fans are like, why haven't they fucking picked up Dalton Rizzer yet? Why haven't they picked up Dalton Rizzer? Florio reported 3 weeks ago that he heard he failed his fucking physical. And that's why all 7 teams that wanted him backed out. And nobody wants to believe he failed his physical. But I'm like, why did all 7 teams back out? And why would Florio make that up? Like, that's kind of the thing.
Yeah, 100%. I trust. There's a reason that I listen to Florio, and that like I kind of filter out a lot of what he says.
even though he pisses me off.
Yeah. One of the main reasons I listen to him is Chris Sims, but the other reason is he knows what's going on. He's a guy, he loves the gossip of the NFL. We've spoke about this before. He loves the fucking storylines and the gossip of the NFL. That's what he gives a shit about. So I trust him and I listen to him with those kind of things the same way I trust but don't like the school gossip of as well. They seem to have their ears to the ground of the ecosystems that they live in. So the Vikings offensive line has been a problem before. I don't think it's the same old Vikings. And I think, again, so much shit went wrong in that game where it's just like, okay, week 1, shit hit the fan. Let's go in prepared to week 2.
And they have a rough test because they got beat up pretty good last year by the fucking Eagles. And I might be being the eternal optimist, but I truly have been thinking about this for the last 3-4 days. The Eagles look very beatable. And I think the Vikings can score on that fucking defense.
So this is where I was coming to, Montana, if you're still listening. The Eagles defense can be passed on. Mac Jones, without a run game, got 316 yards against this defense. And that's where Juju Smith-Schuster is his number 1 wide receiver. Let's fucking remember that. Juju Smith-Schuster is a number 2 at best, especially when getting separation. What happens when you put Justin Jefferson in there when Kirk Cousins is just thrown for 344 yards? What was Justin Jefferson's receiving? 150 yards for Justin Jefferson receiving in a loss when they were getting sacked. Their offensive line was falling apart. What can the Eagles do now? Were the Eagles rusty? Was Jalen Hurts rusty? Maybe. Or are they missing their offensive coordinators that they've just got, that they've had to lose this season? Are they losing their defensive coordinators that they've lost this season? When you get that close in the Super Bowl as a runner-up, your back of house gets gutted out, and that's what seems to have happened at the Eagles. Then let's see. But I feel slightly confident. I feel like 6 points as a betting line is a bit drastic and a bit of an overreaction to the Vikings loss and an underreaction to the Eagles win.
I don't know if I'm being a homer, but give me the Vikings +6. Because even if it's a close game, then I win on the bet. You know what I mean? If and I know it's everybody wants to shit on Kirk Cousins for his primetime games. He's better on Thursday night than he is Monday night, but we don't even have to argue that. And one guy that nobody's talking about who balls out in prime time, who is a rookie, Jordan Addison played some of his biggest games on fucking prime time in college. So he's not afraid of the big lights, and people fail to realize college stadiums actually hold, for the most part, more than NFL stadiums. So the lights, the fans, that shit's not going to scare him. Maybe this is Jordan Addison's coming out game.
I feel that you can feel confident as a Vikings fan that also your defense held the Bucs to 20 points despite and the Bucs, by the way, have Baker Mayfield, who's won a playoff game, number 1 overall pick, been in the league a while. Mike Evans, who's possibly a Hall of Famer. What's he?
Chris Godwin
13
play.
Yeah, Michael Evans has got something like 13 consecutive 2,000-yard receiving seasons or something like that. He's been in the Pro Bowl 8 times and things like that. Christian Godwin has to be one of the better second wide receivers in the Buccaneers and they have a decent offensive line. So your defense held up, which is the biggest question. So your defense held up, and that's the biggest question for the Vikings. Can you not get those turnovers this week? Let's see, because it's what the Eagles do as well. They get turnovers if they're the same Eagles as last year. I'm going to take the Vikings +6 as well. I would say the Vikings are going to win, but give me the +6.
Me, during the game, I am the eternal pessimist. Mm-hmm. But before the game and after a loss, I am the eternal optimist. I am weird when it comes to shit like that. I just think the Vikings offense looked good despite not only scoring 17 points. I text you something like, fuck this, I quit.
Yeah. I was out by that. I was out
I
drinking
just
by that
needed to
point with all the
bitch. You were
Welsh
my
fans.
venting during the game, if you read it or not. I just
Kept
had to
on looking
vent.
my phone. I was like, "Oh shit, something." I was like, "Something that isn't going good in the Vikings game." But yeah, like the Vikings offense looked decent despite only scoring 17 points because of the way that they gave the ball away in those 3 turnovers as well. They looked fine. Russ to kick off,
Those
but
turnovers literally knocked fucking at a minimum 10 points off the board.
yeah. And the Eagles defense looked beatable against I'm sorry, if you put the Patriots offense in front of me, I would like just turn it away and rather just rebuild and start again. Although I do like Matt Jones and Bill O'Brien as an offensive coordinator. So like that's a nice QB offensive coordinator tandem, but their best running back is
And
an old Ezekiel Elliott, and their wide receiver number 1 is Juju Smith-Schuster.
and it's great for Mac Jones to get Bill O'Brien because that'll take the sting off of the fact that him and Bill Belichick hate each other.
Yeah, definitely. It also makes Belichick not look good, and I'm always here for that.
Yeah. Can we hear that argument anymore? Was it Belichick or Brady? Like, we don't even hear that anymore.
Yeah, I mean, we can still have it. Like, it's a doable argument. It's just
Can,
like,
is it like, is this
you
not
know,
settled?
you say first 3 years Tom Brady. Like when a dynasty's that long, I guess you get to have it. But I think Tom Brady's the guy who kind of made it work. Like Belichick seems to be
And then he went to
unbearable if
Tampa
Tom
and
Brady's
won
not there.
another one. And
Yeah.
yeah, I think Brady wins that argument.
Yeah, I think so. I think so too. But what would really make him win that argument is coming back, playing for the Jets, and winning their first Super Bowl since Joe Namath. Now that would be the final nail in the coffin in Bill Belichick's division. I don't think it's going to happen, but how fucking exciting would that be? Mike Florio would wet himself over that bit of drama.
Well, before week 1, there was rumors that Devontae Adams was trying to force a trade to the Jets behind the scenes. I bet you that died down.
Yeah, that's died down now. I'm surprised it even was a thing.
I don't
at
even
the
know
time.
if it's true. It was weird, like rumblings, and never
That
from
would be
a source I
so
believe.
bad. That would be so bad for Green Bay. That would make Green Bay look absolutely horrendous because then it would just be Devontae Adams just outright saying, "Oh, I left because of Green Bay." Nothing else.
Well, he did say part of the reason he left is because he didn't know how long Rodgers was going to be there. Right? You want a quarterback, and then he wanted to go play with his college roommate, and then they shipped his college roommate the fuck out of town the next year. Ooh, this wasn't on our slate, but man, the Saints looked all right, bro.
I thought the Saints were going to be. I thought the Saints were going to be all right. Also in that division, somebody else who looked really good, Bijan Robinson, looked absolutely fucking electric. Shout out to Bijan Robinson.
Yeah, did I look
really
like
good.
an idiot for shitting on him being a top 5 pick in the fantasy draft?
Unbelievable fantasy pick. Bijan, it looks great, and he's just going to carry that offense entirely. It looks like,
and he's never going to see a second contract.
Yeah, because he's going to carry that offense, and then it'll just be.
I just think we're in a new age where you draft a guy, let him play his 5 years, maybe franchise him 1 year, and then let him go.
Yeah, that's sad. But anyway, and also another shout out to the Miami Dolphins redefining the word open in the NFL. Mike McDaniels is an excellent coach. Like the Miami Dolphins, since he's got there, those wide receivers, I don't like Tyreek Hill is fast, but he wasn't that open when he played for the Chiefs. Like he is open, and he is open all of the time now, which really helps Tua Tagovailoa as well. He's gone from Alabama open to Miami open.
Yeah, which are kind of the same thing.
They're now exactly the same thing. Yeah, any rookie should want to go to Miami at the moment because it's just like throwing to college wide receivers. But the Chargers managed to keep that game close as well. So the Chargers also looked good. It's just the Dolphins were better. And when you have Tyreek Hill, then he might be the highest scoring player in fantasy football this year. I think Tyreek Hill.
Well, Maddie, I hope we're right tonight and I can get a victory because I was excited that we played Thursday to get this bad taste out of my mouth, but it'll suck if I got to carry another one for 10 days.
Yeah. I thought you were going to play
a little. 0-2, to start the year, you have 10% chance of making the playoffs.
I always find that stat so
Granted, that
mad.
was when there were 16 games, but still, now there's
Yeah.
17, and I think a lot that had to do with that because for so many years there's a seventh team in each division in the playoffs. So, but still,
Yeah, I always think that's crazy. I also think it's like, yeah, that's because most of the teams that go 0-2 are just shit. Like the
that
10% of the teams have gone 0-2 is because you don't often have to play two really difficult slates on your game when you first get in.
somebody
And that
correct
kind
me
of
in the
thing.
comments if I'm wrong, but I believe 2 of Brady's Super Bowls came after an 0-2 start.
I know that one of the Cowboys Super Bowls came after getting absolutely blown out in a season opener. So yeah. That's what a Giants fan said to me in a chat like a while ago. He not a while ago, this week he said, "Oh yeah, well, the Cowboys got blown out in whatever year it was, and they won the Super Bowl, so we'll be going to the Super Bowl this year." And I was like, "All right, okay,
See, but
sure, man."
I like those types of fans better than the fans who shit on everything their team does.
Yeah, 100. Yeah, 100%. Like
I can't
100%.
stand the negative fans. Like, fan stands for fanatic, guys. It's short for fanatic. Like, we're supposed to be irrational about our teams.
Apart from me and you, obviously, who are always cool, calm, and collective, completely unbiased, and never.
I actually think the only reason we don't look foolish is because the other one pulls us back down to earth sometimes.
That must be it. Maybe that's it. Yeah, maybe that's it. See, I've got my Vikings purple on today as well. So
All right,
let's go Vikings.
It's a good time to head over because Maddie just froze up on me. Well, there he's back. You froze up on me.
Oh right, okay. Sorry, I was just saying I've got my Vikings purple on tonight. So hoping for the win. Skull.
All right. Well, I got my Brewers old baby blue on, but skull. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. One world, one love. Deuces.
Cheerio.